Okay, hello everyone. We are going to install DNS and we are going to install Chroot as well. Well, we will try to follow the best practices of installing DNS. Our environment here is Ubuntu 20.04 LTS, and we have a little resources here, but that's more than enough for us to install DNS. Okay, we will not do any configurations in the DNS. We can just do the basic configuration, you know, like the whether it is recursion server or it is OSS 7 and just few configuration. But we will focus mainly on how to configure DNS and make it run with chroot. Also, we will not go into more details about why we have chroot, and we will add some links and some documents in the description um, later in the video. So now let's start. We may need some few utilities for troubleshooting like TCP dump, and I think it's already installed, and we can proceed directly install bind9. Okay, bind9 is one of the most commonly used DNS software in the world, and it can be configured as a recursion server or cache server, or also it can be configured as authoritative server. We will use Ubuntu repository to install bind9 rather than downloading the code and compile it. Okay, so we can do that simply by install bind9. I think everybody is aware about ABT. ABT is a packet management in Ubuntu um, operating system, and simply we can just do bind9 and some bind9 utilities and details and DNS utils, and this is like let me just copy paste the commands over here. And that's the necessary buckets required to install DNS and some few utilities and tools that can be used to troubleshoot and test, for example. Well, once the installation is done, we will be able to enable it. It means enable it as named, although the software called bind9, but the service name is named. And when we do enable, it means named, or the DNS will be started whenever the server is rebooted for any time. So, and if you want to start the server, we can just start space named, and if you want to check the status, you can just replace singular status, and it says here the server is running. Perfect, good. And well, so what else we can do if you planning later to use the server for example, if you want to install the extension like DNSSEC extension, you may need some random number generator, and you can install, for example, for that purpose you can install halfkit. It is install halfkit, and it is a software that can help abt have it uh, navigate, and it is a software that can help to generate random number, and it's going to be helpful if you're going to install or sign your Zoom and you're using your server for, let's say, an authoritative server. And Halfgate is a service, therefore we need to enable it as well. Enable it as well, and then also we can start it, because when you start it, it will not be started by default. And well, so also by default you can install or you can configure UFW or the firewall and allow port 53 TCP UDP. And also you need to allow SSH, because if you want to log into the server using SSH and so on. But we will jump from that, and we will continue doing the basic installation. So for us to install DNS on chroot, and as I mentioned earlier, chroot is a security feature for us to protect the server. And if the software, which is bind, being hacked, the attack will not go beyond bind and compromise the whole server. It will only be within that particular application. So it's quite useful, and it is recommended for system administrators to install it. Chroot. Okay, so how we're going to do that? There's some few libraries is required to install in order to configure chroot. The first library is this, and the second library is chroot itself, schroot itself. And but before we proceed to do the necessary configuration, we can do some basic configuration on DNS itself. Like for example, we can enable logs, and that's quite important for us to track and troubleshoot our setup later. So the main configuration file is located in the slash bind slash name dot options, and from options you can see all the basic options. For example, it is DNSSEC validation O2 if it is a validated, and then if it is a recursion server, then it will validate the requests. If it is O2, it means it will be enabled automatically. Well, so what else we can do? Let's add some few configuration, like for example, listening on version 6, but also it can be listening on version 4. So same, listening on, but without version 4, without then let's look at what's the IP address right now. So this is our local IP address. Let's go back to the configuration file. Here we can add the configuration, uh, the thing, but also we can add the link local as well, I think. So the server will be listening on the IP address and also in the loopback, not link local. Here also we can customize it a little bit, but let's stick to this one. Okay, and then we can allow query from everyone, because we planning later to have this server as an associative server, which means I need to allow everyone to to request information about that particular domain on the server. Okay, let me just copy paste the rest of the configuration and then explain it. What does it mean? Some configuration I'm going to change it. I'm not going to stick to my documentation. Like for example, let's say the first one, zoom statistics. It means uh, allow bind to collect statistics about the DNS preparation, what's happening, and version. We just make it none to avoid being scanned. Hostname as well, make it none. Notify yes. If you put notify yes, this is a global configuration. But I would prefer to have notification in each zone. And the question no, it means the server is going to be an authoritative server. So let's start how to start bind. We can use the command is start named, and then we can check the status. This is one of the way we can check the status, or we can use also the PSAUX script named, where you can see all the things are running over here. And as well, you can check it from the network perspective, and you look at the bind is already running on port 53. Perfect. Well, what else we can do? Let's prepare some few directories for log file. For example, by default, let's create a directory here in cache bind. We create a new directory, and we will change the ownership of that particular directory to bind. Bind actually is the what do you call it, service user. Uh, to the same, we can give the ownership to the same directory. Yeah, if you grip bind in slash etc slash passability, you will find out this is the no login user, and it is used for administration or for policy and so on. That's how Linux look like, how Linux is structured. Well, what else we can do? We need to tell now. bind where to include a log file. So we will create a log file configuration. We will create a log file configuration, and we will create it in a slash etc. This is the default directory for bind.log, for example. Let's call it log. This is a new file. It's empty. I'm going just to copy paste the log file, and I'm going to explain it later. You'll find you'll find all the explanation about log file in the description, the video description. Well, anyway, we are going to log. If you look at the file here, we are going to log so many features like the queries, whether there's a if there's transaction notification update, and also there's general logs of what's happening, and also the DNS sec, whether there's signing, new signing, and so on. It will be logged, and that's how the configuration look like from inside. So now we need to tell the default configuration file, which is going to be here option. Actually, not option, is just config, and we need to include what? We need to include the new file that we have just created, the new file that we have just created, and it is created in slash etc slash bind slash name dot conf dot log, between quotation, double quotation, and semicolon. Well, before we proceed, let's restart the service and make sure it works fine and the configuration is correct. Restart named ps aux create named, it works fine. Perfect. So what else we can do? We have configured named, we have installed named, we have configured named, and we make sure name is already logging. Let's see whether there's logs already or no. Yeah, we have some logs. You see here, we have some logs like debug, for example, like DNS sec, some log, basic log. Let's tell one of these logs. Var cache bind log, for example, debug. You can see what's happening, and all the things happening with your bind server. Okay, now we want to see a Chroot bind. How to do that? First of all, let's stop named. So no named right now, no named running right now. If you put ps aux grep aux grep named, you should not see named. This is the first thing. Second, we will make some few configuration. We'll make some few configuration of the service, and we are going to create a new file in system and system bind and so on. So what is that? It is supposed to be created in system D and system slash, we will call service. We will make some changes actually here. The change is going to be adding a new file, and make some changes as well. But rather than looking at the changes, we will just figure it out, and the changes actually is in the uh, it is reload blah blah blah. I think it's identical. No need to make any changes for the time being. Um, yeah, user default. Yes, exactly. No need changes over here. I think no need any changes. Just make sure there's options over there. Users being named and RNDC reload. Yeah, correct. I think we don't need any changes. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Okay. Another thing we need to check is the default and named, and here we need to make some changes. So what is the changes is we are going to change the option recursive here, but the option is going to be changed to this one, and we will not need this anymore. That's how the thing should be look like. Well, now we can re-enable named because named are changed. and we can reload the daemon, and we will re-enable name because we have made some changes in the service file. Okay, well, and right now let me just make some few tests here. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, just few check. Okay, good. Let's continue. Well, slash etc slash default slash named was changed, and we have done all the things, and then we have re-enabled name because we made some few changes in the service file. Now we need to reload the daemon. Well, we will create a tree of directories, and you can just follow the steps here by making this tree, and we will make number of directories, and we will copy some files and directories as well, and that's necessary to create the new environment for bind to run. And then also we will make some new permissions, and we'll make some new permissions and some yeah, and we are following the documents by DPN, and we'll share that also the link provided by DPN in that matter, and it will be found in the description, in the video description. Also, we'll make some new uh, change mode, which for permission 660 for that particular uh, directories. And then we are going to move the actual directory, which is bind. We're going to move it to the chroot environment. So that our chroot exists in bind9 share chroot slash etc, which was created earlier in this command. Okay, well, but we still need that location to make it easier for us. Therefore, we will create a symbolic link instead. So the symbolic link will be pointed to the same directory slash etc slash bind. Well, before we proceed, let's check the time zone or the time, uh, I think time date control, and it is blah blah blah. Okay, let's set the time zone to our time zone, which is then going to be time zone set time zone to Africa slash Khartoum. If you put time zone again, you find out it's a +2. Perfect. But we still need to copy the local time to our bind environment. The local time file exists in slash etc slash local time. We will have a copy of that file in our bind environment because we need that. Again, we need to make some changes and some permission changes. We will change the ownership for all files and the RNDC keys and all that to bind. As we know, bind is a user, is a system user that particularly used for bind service, and we just follow the best practices and recommendation by or the steps that provided by the official documents of DPA. Well, now let's proceed to Up Armor, and Up Armor configuration. It is going to be in slash etc slash. So how we can do that? Go to slash etc up armor armor.d. This is the directory local, and usr is pin named, and it is empty. Just copy paste the following configuration, and that's give the permission with its read or write. Some permission here is read only, some permission read and write for that particular directory, and So on, well, we can reload up armor right now after we make these changes, but let's proceed to that directory. I want to check whether we have everything there or no. Let's USR. We have shared DNS. All the information are there. Well, now we need to make some log file, and using rsyslog configuration file, we will just follow this, and if you then we need to restart syslog as well, just to make sure syslog are working. Perfect, good. So now what else we have? We have to make some few changes into fstab, and fstab is the configuration file for your driver. So if you want to add or make some changes in your driver, then you need to proceed to fstab. So fstab existing, let's existing slash etc slash fstab, and come to the bottom here. We will just copy paste the configuration, and the configuration is already done. Let's restart again everything and make sure everything it works fine. Restart the, we will try to start bind and see. Start named, and let's check whether it is started or status. Oh, good. It is working right now. If we did appears a UX, then we will see bind running in a different environment, which is envir slash bind Chroot, which is the new environment for bind. Um, Thank you very much, and I would be happy to provide extra information. If you want that, please contact us. You can contact me directly. I will share my contact in the video description. Bye.